Okay, so here we are with the MDI hooked up, as we said before. So these are all of the modules that are communicating on pin 1, and we can change that. We just have to pause that. We'll show you the measured voltage real quick here first. Pin 1, ta-da, there we go. So there's pin 1. It's cycling between 0 and 5 volts is what it's doing, but this isn't as fast as the scope, so as a result it doesn't give you the same exact result. But let's see, switch to detected state. See, it says longest response time. Well, that means that everybody's responding within their response time, so it's not as though we're losing anybody. Okay, we're on data circuit number 1 here. And all of these guys are on that same circuit. Okay, so if you have an open on that circuit, what happens is you lose whatever players are on that circuit from that point down. So if you lose it before you get to a splice, you might lose everything, right? If you lose it after the splice, you'll probably lose only that module, okay, if it goes open. If it goes shorted, you're going to take down the entire network because nothing can read. See? And let's see, we'll show you that here. So here's the measured voltage for that, right? So if we play with this here, let's do this. Let's see. Gotta find my right stuff here. Trying to hook things to ground, and you gotta be ready to do it. See, so we've got this here. Let's see, unhook this. Oh, good, that'll work. All right, so you guys are gonna watch the screen, and I'm gonna watch what I'm doing back here. We're going to play with this real quick. See, that quit, didn't it? And now it's back. That's what happens when you ground that circuit. Okay? When you ground out that circuit, that serial data circuit, you take down everything. So if you get a ground in it, you get no communications with anything on that bus. Okay? So remember, we were up here at the message monitor. I actually go back to detected state. So we actually have all of these things on here: the body control module, content theft deterrent, immobilizer, door switch panel passenger, radio. The SDM is on here for the airbag, door switch panel driver, instrument cluster, telematics module, which is the OnStar, HVAC control module, digital radio receiver, remote control door lock receiver, front and rear parking assist module, seat memory module, blah, 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 blah. So none of this stuff works if you take out that low speed bus. Okay, so what's interesting about that is, let's go back to we're going to switch to terminal 6 and 14, and here we go. So here are the things that are on this: body control module, EBCM, trailer brake control module, telematics, engine control, transmission module, auto trans assembly, solenoid valve body assembly, transfer case, rear differential, which we don't have, that's for all-wheel drives, glow plug control module, body control module, content theft deterrent immobilizer, door switch panel, radio, inflatable restraint sensing and diagnostic module, door switch panel control module, instrument cluster, blah blah blah. Now see, what you have to notice is halfway down, right at the glow plug control module, is where we switch over. All of this stuff is on pin 1 again. Okay, so let's go to, let's see if it'll let us do this. Maybe we have to stop that again. Stop that, message monitor, tell it to start. It's not going to give it to us for that. It's only going to give it to us for pin 1. That's interesting. Okay, so let's see. Measured voltage, detected state. Let's see, so shut this down. Go back to 6 and 14. Turn off pin 1. Back to this. Okay, so this tells you what's online right here. Okay. So this right here is telling you the body control module, brake control module, trailer brake control module, blah, 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 are all on this. But not everything is on this that you need to start the vehicle, is it? No, it's not. So what you'll notice is the body control module is on both sides. It's on the high and the low speed line. So it'll take messages. It works as the gateway module, and it will take the messages from one side and pass them to the other. Okay, so if you don't have something on this list that you need to start the car for theft, for example, theft deterrent or something like that, what happens is the theft deterrent sends the message that it wants the PCM to receive to the body control module. The body control module takes that, shifts it up to the high speed line, and sends it along to the ECM. And obviously here's your measured voltage again. So if we're having issues with this, then at that point it'll start doing weird stuff. Now let me go ahead and play with this real quick, and I'll show you what happens with that. So let's see, this is gonna go here. Now we're gonna have to shift this over to here. Oh, did you see that? There you go. That there's a short on the high speed line. Okay, so if we short the high speed line, what happens? The whole thing goes away, doesn't it? Doesn't matter what side you short, it takes the whole thing down, doesn't it? So that's something to remember. If you guys have a problem where you've got no communication on the high speed side, no voltage, then you're probably dealing with a short. Okay, because you can have a short. I'll demonstrate that here in just a minute. We're going to exit out of this. You can have a short and it'll still go ahead and give you the right resistances. Now we've talked about the fact that we need 60 ohms worth of resistance on these wires, right? Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. I'll create a short for these, and then for 6 and 14, and we're going to measure the resistance. Okay, and you watch, the resistance is going to be the same. This is one of the reasons that Doc isn't a real big fan of resistance checks, and to a certain extent I agree. So you just have to know what you're looking for, and then you can figure it out from there. Interesting. It's not quite going the way I want it to go. Let's see. All right, well, let's see. I think that was in the wrong I know why. Okay. All right, so let's put this back in there. I know what I did wrong, so that was my fault. We're waiting for the ECM to power down now. It's going to take it just a minute here. There we go. So, come on, honey. Well, it's still not quite where I want that. So we're going to play this game till we get where we want to go with it here. I think what I'll do, this is the most entertaining part, is trying to make things fail. This has to be the biggest single pain in the neck for any instructor ever, is making something fail that's working already. So let's see. And then one of my problems too is that I'd like this thing mounted because I need to, it's easier for me to touch this stuff with it mounted. You know what? We're just going to change this over to something else. Make it work that way. All right, let's see. That'll do, I think. I think that'll do. We're going to find out here in a second. So let's see. Yeah, that would figure, wouldn't it? Let's see, where's the other side of that? There's this. Okay, so this has, oh, that's why, stupid, that's part of it. Okay, well, you know, sometimes you fight yourself. Oh, perfect, that'll work well. Okay, so, all right, so you can see here, we've got 51 ohms. We're supposed to have 60, all right? Now, what's interesting about this is, I've created a short, okay? So it gets over to this other terminal a little more quickly than it's supposed to. That's why we're at 51 ohms, okay? So we've got an issue where it's shorted. So that's not really that far off 60 ohms though, is it? Okay, now if we take one of these to ground, we get, well, that's not the one. Oh, that one. If we take it to ground, we get 103 ohms on this one. Now that's not the 120 that we're looking for, okay? This is the one that I shorted. That one's gonna show, yeah, or almost nothing, right? So 52, okay? And we show 2.3 on that one, okay? So we have 53 ohms to ground here. So on the upper one, the lower one's the one I shorted to ground. So what we're looking at here is, we're looking at a short to ground on the high-speed line, okay? Now the numbers aren't off that much. If you're looking for 60 ohms, pin 6 to pin 14, you know, that's really close, all right? It's not quite what we want, but it's gonna kill the truck. So we're gonna turn the key on. Nothing. Went to start. We got a big 0, okay? It won't talk to anybody now. Not on the high-speed line anyway. So that's something you have to remember, okay? So, and if you open one of those, you're going to get 120 ohms. So that's something else to remember. So let's go ahead and pull this short. Key is off. And let's see, I want to do one other thing. I want to go from here to here. Okay, and we have, let's see, it's 163 meg ohms, but it's going to drop here as the power cycle's off. So let's see what happens when everybody starts to shut down. Well, we're still at 900 meg ohms, which is interesting. And now that I've gotten rid of the ground, you can see that we're back to 60 ohms and everything will work. So there's that. And of course the truck starts and runs. Let's see if we have any lights. No, everybody's pretty happy. It'll have a bunch of history codes in it for communication, but other than that, it's in pretty good shape. So that's something that I want you guys to remember. This matters what you're fighting with, what you're actually looking for, but that 60 ohms is really important on that line, right? So if you get 120 or somewhere in that range, you're looking at an open, and if you get anything lower than that, you're looking at a short. And what I always do is I always check it one to the other, and then I go ahead and check it each pin to ground. So that way I know if something's grounded, which one's grounded, and then I have an idea where I have to go chase it. So obviously these lines run all over the vehicle, so it could be anywhere, but that's another deal that I was going to chat with you guys about, is how to diagnose this. So let's go back. Pretty sure I still have that page open. And we're going to go here. Okay, so here's your schematic of your low speed, okay, because it comes out of pin 1, all right? So if we go back here, that's obviously the low speed bus, okay? Now if we go to the high speed bus, click, there we go. All right, so there's your DLC over here, and we have a couple different splices, but everything is twisted together and it runs through all of these modules, right? So, and this says except Mexico or HP2, so it just matters what your RPO is. So if it was built in Mexico, or if you have HP2, then you need to go to a different diagram. That's what you have to understand here, okay? That's what this means right there. So usually what I do is, especially if I don't have any communication, is I'll split the circuit. So you can come over here to X109 right there, okay, and disconnect X109. Make sure you can still talk to the body control module and the VCIM in this case, right? So if you can, if that communication comes back up, then you're golden, and you know that part of the circuit is good. I just want to look at the rest of this out here. Please forgive me, I'm a fair ways from the router, so it takes a minute for it to load. At any rate, so yeah, so there's your data link resistor right in the rear of the truck, and it runs up here through the trailer brake control module, okay, through the fuel pump flow control module if you have that, which we don't because we have a diesel. And then we have electronic brake control module, so it matters which one of these RPO codes, what pin it is when it gets there. That's all that means. They'll all have it. It just matters whether or not you have VSYS or what brake package or et cetera, what what pin number it's going to be in that connector when it gets to that module. And then we run up here to the transfer case control module, and then of course this goes forward to where we showed you guys the BCM and the DLC and all that stuff. So that's your hard and fast way to take a look at a communication circuit and figure that out. But if you don't have any communication with anything, and it looks like you have a short, just start breaking the circuit. Just open up everything at every connector and see what starts to operate. And then once it starts to operate, you can go to wherever the last place that it operates, and you can go, okay, beyond that is where the problem lies, if that makes sense. So if I can talk all the way up to the trailer brake control module, right, but I can't talk to this other control module, the CNG control module, for example, not that we have it, but in case we didn't, but right. So, but if I break that circuit open right here, and all of a sudden everything else works, then I have a short back here. That's my issue, right? And then same thing over here. If I break it apart right here, right, and I couldn't talk to anything, and now I can talk to everything forward, then I have a short somewhere in this wiring right here. That's how that works. Okay, not rocket science, it just requires practice. So at any rate, we're gonna do some, I think we're gonna do some practice with that this coming week in 235. I'll go ahead and make up some scenarios, and I may even come out here and break a couple things in the driveway and then show you exactly how it works. So at any rate, yeah, so I think I'm going to upload both of these, and I'm going to work on making you guys an emissions diagnostic video, and then I'll probably do some test drives to finish out this block, and then I'm going to move on to what we're going to be doing in 235. So don't forget your homework, don't forget your finals, and love you guys, and we'll talk to you later.